Want to update you on the tropics. Obviously, Idalia has been the big story for eastern North Carolina and Hampton roads. The center is over water now. It is going to move away, and thank goodness it is moving along quickly right now, east-northeast at about 21 miles per hour. We're going to keep this thing moving. The center will pass well to the south of Ocracoke and Hatteras. So the center is down to the south, but it's still throwing quite a bit of wind back at the coast, and there are still some issues that we're going to deal with. You'll notice how it eventually heads off, maybe dips a little bit to the southeast, but should get carried off to the northeast and away. Let's pick up the futurecast here and talk about that heavier rain for North Carolina. Again, this activity will be winding down as the morning continues. Scattered showers through the middle part of the day and then drier conditions as we head through the afternoon. Note the winds, and I've got the arrows here showing the winds coming in from the northeast. That's going to keep our tide levels running high. So coastal flooding still a concern around the tides, and that's going to be the big issues. We'll be drying and clearing out later tonight, and tomorrow looks pretty good as well. Temperatures stay mild today and tomorrow with highs in the 70s. It warms up over the weekend. All right, now to talk a little bit about the winds. Again, wrapping around on the north and backside of this system as it pulls away. We still have these northeast winds. There's a pretty good pressure gradient between that low pressure down to the south and higher pressure that's trying to build in from the northwest. What we're going to find, and this is based on the European model. I could pick any number of models, but I wanted to show you the Euro model here. It's got a pretty good handle on things. Through the mid-morning, 8:30, 9 o'clock, we could see some gusts. Virginia Beach around 45, 46 miles per hour, certainly a possibility. Elizabeth City, 35 to 40 mile per hour gusts. Matthews 38. In Hampton, we could see gusts around 40 or so, maybe 41. So pretty breezy across the region. Watch what happens down at Hatteras. So as we go through the afternoon, system starts to pull a little bit farther to the east. It gets closer to Hatteras. Those winds picking up as that center, still to the south of Hatteras, is a little closer there. We could see some gusts to 65, maybe 66 miles per hour. Again, that's extreme south. Most of us are going to find winds gusting up between, say, 40 and 50 right at the coast. That includes Virginia Beach, Hampton still with gusts around 41. Now, as we go through the overnight and into tomorrow, the winds are a little bit lighter. Still some pretty strong gusts around Hatteras, but things in general will be improving after that. All right, at Sewell's Point, with the winds coming in, we're going to see potential minor tidal flooding with the morning high tide, moderate tidal flooding with the evening high tide at 10:20. That's what we expect for Hampton roads. Sewell's Point, that is the official measuring gauge for Norfolk, and that's what we keep our records when we talk about tide levels. For Yorktown, tide levels at a point where we get minor tidal flooding this morning, maybe a little bit higher for the evening high tide. We're at 4.9 feet. Around Duck Pier, though, while we come through minor to maybe moderate this morning, it's going to potentially reach that threshold of major tidal flooding this evening, so we'll continue to watch that. Two other systems to mention while we're here covering the tropics. We have Franklin. This was the one that was kicking up the surf action earlier in the week. It is pulling away. It's now to the northeast of Bermuda, and it is going to accelerate off before weakening over the North Atlantic as a remnant low. And we had Jose develop early this morning. We've been so busy with Idalia, we've hardly mentioned Jose, but it's out there in the central Atlantic. This is a fish storm. It's not going to amount to much, and it is forecast to not last very long either, maybe a day or so, and then it should weaken later on Friday. That's a look at the tropics. Again, very important you stay weather aware, especially if you are in an area that is impacted by tidal flooding. We do have that potential for minor to moderate tidal flooding, and we do have coastal flood warnings up for Hampton roads.